Hi everyone, Carter Krishnaiyer here, wrapping up a amazing day of T20 cricket at the T20 World Cup. This is the amount of notes I took, by the way, from the matches today. More notes than usual. It's not that straightforward what happened, so a lot to get to. This is written notes in addition to typed notes, so a lot to get to. Tomorrow's fixture list not that exciting, probably not going to spend that much time on it. We are brought to you, as we are every day, by the Boca Raton Tribune, which you can find online at bocaratontribune.com. Of course, if you live in South Florida, you can subscribe to the printed edition of the paper. Boca Raton Tribune, your closest neighbor and the best cricket coverage in South Florida. And I'd like to think some of the best local sports coverage in South Florida. Tomorrow's matches are Nepal, Italy, which is kind of a key match. Sri Lanka, Oman. I think that will be pretty straightforward for Sri Lanka down in Kandy, and India, Namibia, which should be pretty straightforward for India. So let's talk about the two dramatic matches today. Let's start with South Africa, Afghanistan. What a performance from Afghanistan. Really kind of tragic to see them lose at the Narendra Modi. I think we won upsets in this tournament, so we were very close to getting a huge upset. Double super over victory for South Africa, first ever double super over in the T20 World Cup. Quinton de Kock, who I've seen in Major League Cricket in person, well, I've seen him play for South Africa in person also, and Ryan Rickleton put in a great partnership, right? 114 runs between the two of them, and they made a massive total look certain. So Afghanistan feels like they're out of this match. Then you see bowlers step up for Afghanistan. Those spinners I talked about before the tournament. The spinners I thought were going to be Afghanistan's card to be competitive in this World Cup, and didn't really show in that first match. Rashid Khan, brilliant, and they get out at 187. Right, that's a target you can chase. 187 on the track in Ahmedabad. So there was a great run, and then Afghanistan needed 13 on the final over, and they almost got it. They tried to run for that 188th run. They got two extras, right, in the over, which Rabada is spectacular when he's on. But the pressure of that over got to him. Two no balls. I think the one was one no ball, one wide, technically. But yeah, two extras. And Afghanistan was almost able to run it out and get the runs they needed. So we go to the super over, 17 apiece. Tristan Stubbs saves South Africa with a 6. Not the best delivery, and he belted it. And then Stubbs and David Miller, one of my favorite cricketers, current cricketers, they go for 24. Afghanistan almost gets there. If they had gotten a 6 on that last ball, or actually if they gotten boundary, they would have extended it to a third super over. But if they gotten a 6, they would have won it. So great scoring there. What a match. Let's talk about England and the West Indies, because at the Vakande, this is a return of Windies cricket as we remember it, as some of us who grew up with it remember it. For those of you who don't know me, I grew up in South Florida. So while I'm of Indian descent, the cricket I watch was West Indian cricket, right? That's kind of the cricket culture in this. This is one of the few places where cricket was played in the United States. Why we had a cricket ground built here in Fort Lauderdale, or Lauderhill, excuse me, in Fort Lauderdale area. That was built, the first ICC approved regulation cricket ground in the U.S. built in 2007. We played a lot of other things there over the years. There's been a lot of football matches I've been involved with, soccer matches I've been involved with. And there's been a fair amount of rugby and even some lacrosse that played there. But it is a cricket ground first and foremost. And of course is now in the books as a World Cup venue from the last World Cup. So West Indian cricket is something I understand, and it has not been great lately. But West Indies win this match by 30 runs. It was just, they imploded England in the chase. Moti, Chase, and Joseph all bowled brilliantly. You know, Joseph's Yorkers were really effective in those last few overs. And I'm looking at my notes now. I felt like the wrist spinners of Mote, they were something England should have been prepared for, but weren't. So ultimately, some of the problems we saw from England in that opening fixture against Nepal reasserted itself, right? So a lot of issues, I thought. There were some really wild deliveries from England's bowlers. Now, Rashid was better today, and that was a concern after the Nepal game. But Jofra Archer all over the place. He's at times been a wild bowler. We all know he hit Steve Smith, right, in 2019. So 7 years later, he still has some of these wild deliveries. Sam Curran did well on strike. Unlike the Nepal match where he was ineffective as a batter, and was more effective as a bowler. You talk about some wild bowling and some poorly placed deliveries. Curran in multiple overs, bad balls, bad deliveries. Now Curran is going to be seen as the one batter that really came through for England today. Although, you know, I feel like Phil Salt kind of got and Butler, Joss Butler, but Phil Salt and Joss Butler got the attack going early. You know, I've been accused of maybe rightly of talking about England too much in both football and cricket. So let's talk a little bit about the West Indies. We talked about the bowling. We talked about just the fantastic wrist spinners and the Yorkers we saw, just the versatility of that attack. But Rutherford was fantastic, 76 off of 42 balls to anchor the innings for the West Indies and give them this target at the Vakende that England were not going to hit, realistically. We saw how hard scoring was in the opening fixture between India and the United States on that same ground, where the U.S. bowled brilliantly. Van Scadwick takes four wickets from India. The U.S. takes 9 wickets total. Yet, they're not able to really mount a chase in spite of that, because the scoring has been very difficult there. And the West Indies broke through that. England was their middle of the order was non-existent, quite frankly, other than Sam Curran, as we mentioned. Jason Holder, another fantastic guy. We haven't talked about him. Rutherford and Holder were fantastic. We talked about Gudakesh, Moti, and Ruston Chase. Those two bowlers dismantled. Like they knew what the target was. So their bowling was designed. This is the advantage sometimes of batting first and posting a number. They understood, okay, with Butler, with Brooke, once they got Phil Salt's wicket, which took a while, Butler, Brooke, Bethel, we can let them we don't want a partnership to develop, particularly for Harry, Brooke, and Bethel. We don't want that partnership to develop. So we will deliver balls that kind of they feel like they have to chase, and effectively we are going to not only slow the flow of runs, but maybe concede some runs in order to try and get a wicket, in order to kind of bowl the perfect ball to get a wicket, and to have them chasing, knowing what the target was, which was 197. And they did it. They did it. One thing I do want to point out about Rutherford, and this is, again, going to sound like a broken record. I know I've been talking about the Ali Khan injury for the United States for a couple of days. Now we're going to be talking about the Sherfane Rutherford injury on the sand at the Vakende in what are supposed to be perfect pitches in India. The BCCI has more money than any other cricket board in the world. They have far more revenue, and I felt where he came up to try and prevent that boundary, and he limped off. We didn't see him again after he'd been so effective in the West Indian innings. 76 off 42, as I mentioned. I felt like it was an injury based on the pitch conditions. And it's one thing for us as Americans, we probably weren't going to go that far in this tournament anyway, but Ali Khan, our classic cricketer, but I'm still lamenting that. But to see Rutherford, the Windies, based on their first two matches, are a threat to win this tournament and to restore West Indian cricket to where probably its rightful place. To see that injury, I don't like it at all. So let's hope he's okay. Let's see what other notes I have here. Rashid bowled better today for England, so that's a positive for England. But I think there's a lot to be concerned about for England, and you have remaining matches against Scotland and against Italy. Now, Italy, they have the potential to post big numbers, but we know they're inexperienced in international cricket. The Scotland match is dangerous. I thought the Scotland match was going to be very dangerous in 2024, but weather conditions in the West Indies led that to being a reduced over match, and England ended up. Oh, wait a second, or maybe it was maybe there was a no decision, right? Was it a? I can't remember. But if we get a proper 20 over match between England and Scotland is the point. Yeah, I think it was a washout, the England-Scotland match last time. I think they split the points. I just have a sneaky suspicion the way England's playing, they could get beat by Scotland. And if that were to happen, that's an epic. You think the U.S. beating Pakistan was a big deal? If Scotland beats England in a World Cup, and World Cup Scotland should not even be in. Let's keep that in mind as to how they got in here. But we've seen these stories before in sports. I need not remind our viewers of the 92 Euros in soccer and football, which Denmark, they were sitting on the beach and they get the call, hey, we've thrown Serbia out. Just like here, we've thrown Bangladesh out. Scotland was ready to go, though. This is interesting. Scotland kind of knew they might have a shot to get in as the first alternate. And then Denmark wins that tournament. And without their best player, because their best player's like, I'm on holiday. That was Laudrup. But yeah, Scotland, this is dangerous territory for England. So tomorrow again we've got Sri Lanka, Oman, India, Namibia, Nepal, Italy. I think this is a chance for Nepal to get back into it. They didn't beat England, but there's this possibility then that Scotland beats England and and then Nepal runs the table the rest of the way and they go through. Maybe they can beat the West Indies the way they performed. Oh, West Indies look so good. The Windies look like they're along with New Zealand, they've been the two best teams in this tournament so far. So I'd say Windies and New Zealand are the two best teams. Pakistan close. We'll see if India can put down a marker tomorrow. Australia, routine win, but we can't take much from that. Paul Sterling, again, played very well for Ireland, one of the classic cricketers from an associate nation. And who else are we thinking? Oh, and England. England has not looked good in this tournament. So I really like the start from the Windies and from New Zealand. Those are my two horses right now, although South Africa getting the job done against Afghanistan, and they, I think, are really growing into this tournament. The U.S. against the Netherlands on Friday. We will have a preview tomorrow of that at both Beyond the Boundary and Beyond the 90. By the way, we're simulcasting some of these with Beyond the 90, which is a football/soccer site. but that's because there's a lot of interest in this World Cup among sports fans in general. So again, thank you to the Boca Raton Tribune for sponsoring us. Best cricket coverage in South Florida, and you can access the website from wherever. So if you're in Pakistan and in India and you want to know what's going on in cricket in the States, check it out, BocaRatonTribune.com. Thank you once again, and we will talk to you tomorrow.